Howdy everyone on the Shadow of the Hawk, and welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I made a video. If you followed me on Twitter, you were probably expecting something else depending on how a certain vote went. That vote hasn't been concluded yet. I just finished watching a film, and I wanted to talk about that film. So those of you who don't know, a friend of mine, Samuel the Infamous, will keep recommending films, sometimes on streams or sometimes in DMs or whatever to anyone. I am the recipient of a few of these recommendations, and I just finished one of them. 30 Days of Night. It's good. It is so good. For those of you who have not seen it or heard of it or even know what the fuck's going on, I recommend you go watch it right now, because talking about it in any way beyond the most basic premise ruins the film. In my opinion, the rawness of the film only works if you are going in only understanding that this is a film set in Alaska involving vampires. Any other further details will ruin this movie for you. So pause this video, turn off this tab, go watch this movie, come back, continue this video to hear my review. Though you'll probably come to the same conclusions as me. If you don't care or you've already seen this film, stick around, welcome, pull up a chair, let's have a chat. So the premise of this film is that a town, like the most northern town in Alaska, for 30 days of a year, is just completely pitch dark blackness. There is no light. It is just dark. It's scary. And so the majority of the residents, the people like the young, the old, or the people who just don't want to put up with that bullshit, leave, dropping the population from, I think it was like 600 down to like maybe 156, something like that. And on the final day before it's 30 Days of Night, a bunch of weird stuff happens. Sled dogs are slaughtered, helicopters broken, the power plant is destroyed, like things like that. Things that would completely and absolutely isolate the community and keep anyone from escaping, running out into the wilderness. Now that's kind of weird, but main character, Eben, I think his name, Evan or Eben, one of those two, E something N. Catches the guy who's doing it. This like weird dude with like some rotted teeth who is like saying some weird shit about wanting like booze and raw meat and things like that. And he catches him. Problem solved, right? Right? Nope, not the problem. It's not solved. See, a bunch of savage, feral, animalistic individuals of a undead persuasion show up in town. And Samuel the Infamous has described these guys as how you handle vampires. I don't entirely disagree. I do like good Dracula. I did enjoy the originals where the vampires were basically like crime bosses. Like those can work. But these vampires were raw. They were wild, untamed, and just brutal. Like, the best way I can describe this is I want you to imagine a wild dog. Like, you know how, like, wild dogs hunt. Like, they chase something down and they, like, take out its legs and they start ripping it to pieces, right? I want you to imagine a wild dog that clicks like a bird and has the temperament of a serial killer, i.e. it likes to torture its victims before it goes in for the kill. That was these guys. So you had them, like, tossing people around like rag dolls, ripping at their legs and their arms, disabling their ability to fight back, all the while taunting them and laughing and just like screeching and making fun of them as they die screaming. And the sound design and then just like the clicking and the movement of these things is just like, they're very bird-like. They're very like bird of prey, freakish. It is, I can't even describe it in words very well. Like, you just need to see these scenes. And I'm not someone who gets freaked out by films. I'm not someone who gets like freaked out by movies or stuff like that. I as fucked as it is, when I'm watching a war movie and you see a dude get blown up by a landmine, I'm sitting there laughing because I'm a fucked in the head individual. This shit was disturbing me. So I can only imagine how it's going to affect your average person. Or like scenes where it's like a group of the vampires and a single victim. Like, there's this one scene where there's this girl, and you got like a group of the vampires have surrounded her, and they're basically just taking turns slashing at her, getting up in her face, and like clicking at her before like dragging her and tossing her around. And she's just wailing and screaming and crying, and they're just like taking their time tearing her to pieces. And it is just so fucked, but you can't stop staring at what's going on. So that is just like the general gore porn fucked nature of it. Let's get to the plot. The meat and potatoes, if you would. So it follows a bunch of people who live up in this town. I think it's called Barrow, and it is like described as like the top of the world, the most northern town, at least the most northern town in the United States. And immediately, the group that we follow realizes something's wrong when there's a bunch of dudes running around killing all their friends and family, and no amount of shotgun rounds or bullets are putting dents in them. You know, you shoot a guy with normally if you shoot a man with an armor-piercing slug, he goes down, he dies. These things were either vampires or they were so hopped up on crack cocaine that bullets didn't bother them. Obviously, they jumped to the latter, not the former. And so the majority of the town is slaughtered in like the first night because people are trying to fight back or run and screaming like a bunch of animals, and they just get picked off one by one by one. So the main group, they develop a few different tactics to try to hide, and slowly in horror movie fashion, they're picked off one by one. The insane and the empathetic and the lame all leave or get picked off or just killed due to incompetence, and we are left with the main characters who decide we need to fight back because their options are hide and wait to die, run and probably die, or fight and probably die, but also maybe take a few of the bastards with them, and they do. And you get some really, really interesting scenes where like one character figures out, hey, UV light works, and proceeds to torch a motherfucker with it. Or this one guy who uses, I'm assuming, some sort of tool for like either logging or like cutting through ice to basically give himself some armor, to give him a weapon big enough to cut a bunch of these vampires in half, and then if they get on the truck, he blows their brains out with a shotgun because they're too fucking close and unable to maneuver out of the way, and he can just barrel, boom. So freaking good. So freaking good. And the vampire, like, going back to the vampires, like, they just don't give a fuck about the humans. They just don't care. They don't bother speaking English. They don't bother explaining what's going on. They just kill and slaughter and maim and brutalize, and they are intelligent. They are so fucking intelligent. They, like, isolate the town. They take off its means of communication and escape. And then they even have a plan. Like, oh, we know that if the humans ever figure out that we exist, they will figure out a way to kill us. They will hunt us down and exterminate us. So they make the town's destruction look like an accident. They fill it full of oil, light it on fire. Something that is a freak accident, but, like, I mean, it's more plausible than vampires, so people would believe it. The final showdown is the main character standing up and doing his masculine duty, where he infects himself with vampire venom because he realizes I've got a couple of minutes where I will be I've got a little bit of time where I'll be myself, a couple days or a couple minutes, depends on which. And I'm gonna take those fucking bastards with me, trying to save the woman he loves. She's trapped under a car, and so he gets infected. He goes out, and then he proceeds to fuck up the alpha vampire after himself getting fucked up. I guess like the power of plot kicks in or something like that. And he saves the day. But he's a vampire now. And he doesn't want to be a vampire because he knows that eventually he will give in to the urge to feed. And that will turn him into the sadistic monster that everyone else was. So, in the arms of the woman he loves, I'm guessing it's the woman he loves based on some dialogue, though apparently he also has a wife and kids, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I was more... Look, I'm sorry. I was more focused on the blood, slaughter, and death. I am 20, after all. That's kind of what happens when you're 20. And so, like, the film ends with, like, kind of a Chekhov's gun being set off about how, like, the sunrise or this, like, this one spot with, like, the sunrise or the sunset is, like, the really romantic part of the town where, like, you always took your sweetheart for, like, the first date or something like that. And they're just there, just cuddling, just hugging, as he burns to death in the UV rays of the sun, having saved the day by giving his own life. Yeah, cheery film ending. Cheery film. It's a very... I mean, there's like 6 survivors out of a town of like 150 people. So not gonna be feel goods. It's not a feel good time. What is a feel good time is Bone. This is a good feel good time. This is a feel good time. Yeah. Mother Cave Bears, if you're seeing this, I'm still mad at you for convincing me I need to buy this. Anyway, that's enough of this video. That's enough of this prattle. If you enjoyed it, feel free to hop in the comments down below and share your opinions. Join the conversation. If you hated this video, hit the dislike button. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that when my future videos can come out, you can come and harass me, hit the dislike button, leave my chat full of comments because, you know, at the end of the day, any interaction is good interaction on this platform. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to have a good day, and see you next time.